Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another Facebook Live and soon to be podcast. And I'll just wait for a few minutes here as Holiday Monday, Labor Day, Claire, John, Andrea, Amal, good morning, Rosalinda. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Nick, good morning from our staff, Nativity. And Brenda, nice to have you on this morning. Good. Okay, we're going to have fun. Jeanette from our staff, Diane, good morning. Louise. You're not sleeping in, you guys? Jordan from Tennessee. Norma from Texas, good morning. Christine, Joss, and Annette, Dorothy, and Connie, good morning to you. Wendy, good morning, Wendy. Hope you had a great weekend. Jeanette, and Maddie Jo, I like that name. Mary Jane, and John, good morning. Barbara. Okay, a couple of more and we'll get started. Marcin, good morning to you. Fran and Catherine, Springdale, Newfoundland. AJ, how are you? Good morning. And Sharon, coast to coast and North Battleford, Saskatchewan. Sherry, good morning to you. Barbara, coast to coast, east to west, north to south. In North America and even around the world. We appreciate it. And Denise and Jane, good morning. I'll come on afterwards and say hi. You know what I titled this morning? Okay. Plummeting Masculinity. Plummeting Masculinity. I read a study, this is a while back, but it's never come out of my head. After the age of 50, generally, men have more estrogen than their wives. Unbelievable. We're going to talk about that this morning. Plummeting masculinity. It's a big problem in society today. We're going to unpack it and talk about it. Why? But we won't leave you there, okay? We'll tell you what to do, okay? You can fix it. Plummeting masculinity. Let me give you a little bit of statistic. It's absolutely incredible. Not only that men have more estrogen than their wives, around 50 years old in this day and age. It never used to be like that, but it is today. But here's some statistics this is 2011, so from 1973 to 2011, when they tracked these things, 59%, almost 60% decrease in sperm counts in men in North America. 60% decrease in sperm counts from 1973 to 2011. I mean, that was 10 years ago. It hasn't got better, let me tell you that. Testosterone down 30-40% in the last 20 years. The amount of testosterone in men. Men suffer from low T, testosterone. By the way, the blood work for testosterone, again, it always goes back into what's normal, okay? And so they have ranges, and it's pretty hard to be an extremely low range of testosterone. But when a man does really well is when his testosterone is through the roof. It needs to be optimized, just like your thyroid, ladies. You know, thyroid needs to be optimized. Oh, I'm normal. You know, your doctor says you're normal and yet you don't feel good. Testosterone for men. It's a big problem today. It's a big problem. And as a matter of fact, like just coming back to the sperm counts, one study is showing by the year 2045, okay, we won't be able to have babies anymore without artificial semen. They're predicting that, you know, men will not be able to impregnate their wives. They won't have enough sperm. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. That's really important. Oftentimes, and you guys know me, I'm more of a woman's doctor. We talk about hormones for women. And you get it. You understand it. But a lot of you women, and I appreciate that, you know, when in my days of practicing, and I love teasing men, okay? I do, because I'm a man. Men, when it comes to their health, are pretty dense, generally, okay? I know the men that listen here, there's, you know, that are on with our podcast, and I know there's thousands of them. They get it. They're very interested in their health. But in general, I think I can make a general statement that men, by and large, you know, they come into the office. Why are you here? Oh, my wife. Anything wrong? No. Now, I used to, you know, I'd look at them like, yeah, well, it's funny because I'm looking at your results and, you know, you're not near as healthy as you think you are. But it was always a little bit comical when their wives were with them, because when I asked the question why they're here and they'd go, because of my wife, I'd let their wife in the room, by the way. Because their wives wouldn't lie to me. Men would lie right to my face. How you feeling? Great. You know? And then the wife go, yeah, well, you're exhausted all the time and you come home from work and you fall asleep at, you know, in your chair. And, you know, it was always embarrassing if they talked about low T or, you know, ED. You know, these things were not always, you know, pleasant for a man to talk to their doctors about. But, you know, I get it out of them, especially if their wives were there. I mean, but the thing is, I wouldn't let them just lie to me. You know, you're here. You know, I'm going to tell you the truth, but I'm going to give you a plan to succeed. I'm going to show you how to fix this, so you will get to the top of your game. The plummeting masculinity, big problem today. Men are not men. And there's reasons for it, and I want to go over that. What are the reasons that men generally have very low sperm counts, very low testosterone, their male hormone, and often have very high estrogen, their female hormone? Now, ladies, you know this. You got some testosterone. You know, some women ask me to measure that. even in my days in practice, and I said, nah, don't bother, because it's not your prevailing hormone. And if ladies, if your testosterone is high, it's because your estrogen was too dominant. So I looked at estrogen. And in men, when their testosterone was low, estrogen dominates. And it should never, never be that way. And there's reasons for it. So let's talk about reasons that we are having plummeting masculinity. Do you like that? Okay? Plummeting masculinity. Numero uno, number one, if you're taking notes, okay? If you're taking notes, here's the number one reason. Fat. Okay? Body fat composition. Okay, because again, and for those listening on a podcast, I'm showing fat. There's fat right behind me. On Facebook, you can see it. And I'm holding a pound of fat in my hand. Okay? What does this do? I mean, it does a lot of things in the body, but one of the things it does, this, and ladies, this is why it can be dangerous for you. This fat holds on to estrogen. It holds on to estrogen. So body fat, okay, it's a big problem today. We're much bigger than we used to be. And it's not that we're bigger and stronger than we used to be, although, you know, people are just generally bigger, they're taller or whatever. I get that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we're wider than we used to be. That is just a general, you go across North America, and it is a huge concern. Obesity. And when you have extra body fat, it holds on to estrogen. So when your estrogen in a man goes up, his testosterone plummets. It plummets. Okay, that's reason number one. There's other reasons though, because you can be skinny, men, you can be skinny and have very low levels of testosterone. But the number one reason, okay, and I'm trying to put these in some kind of order, okay? Now, what goes on with the body fat, and even if you're skinny, doesn't mean you don't have visceral fat. You can't see it. It can be right around your organs, especially around your liver. Visceral fat. But here's number two. The reason that we have so little testosterone, so little sperm counts in men, is our poor diet. Just bad carbs, PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. Those things drive testosterone down and elevate estrogen. Poor diets. 3, poor sleep. You don't sleep right, your testosterone goes down. Men. And that's a big problem in our society today. Estimated that somewhere around 70% of the population just, they're tired, but they don't sleep. They don't sleep right. Low muscle mass. Low muscle mass. Extra fat and low muscle. And that's where, it can be in obese people too, obviously, but in skinny men, they often have very low muscle mass. You need muscle mass for testosterone. Testosterone increases your muscle mass. low muscle mass decreases your testosterone. Why do you think, and we'll talk about this in a minute, I'm big in weightlifting? I just want to give you 7 reasons first, and then we'll talk about it. High stress. Cortisol does a lot of bad things. The drip, drip, drip of cortisol, the stress hormone, when left unchecked, we live in a crazy world. And one of the things that's happening in the last 18 months or so is the amount of cortisol that's being secreted. I'm telling you, we have seen nothing yet down the road because of our focus and shutdowns and all this and that. It's the unintended consequences, which I brought to you for the last 18 months. I predicted this. But one of the things that'll come out of this too, because of all the stress, will be really extremely low levels of testosterone in men. Cortisol has a major effect on the thyroid gland. You can't convert T4 to T3. Cortisol gives you belly fat, and we already talked about what fat does to lower testosterone. Cortisol affects your sleep. It's one of the big reasons that people are not sleeping. If they don't sleep, their cortisol goes up. If their cortisol goes up, they don't sleep. It's a terrible vicious cycle. And I sort of call cortisol the new smoking. Everybody agrees, not only agreed, but agrees that smoking is bad. Have some cigarettes, it'll do you good. Nah, just about everybody. I mean, if you can find a physician that'll say, you know what, I actually recommend you smoke. Like my dad used to do. Like doctors. It's almost comical, isn't it? 9 out of 10 doctors choose Camel cigarettes. It was almost like it's a vitamin. Unbelievable. That's how they used to think. So, but today, of course, everybody, smoking's bad. Secondhand smoke is terrible. We put our hands up and agree. We all agree with that. The new smoking now isn't smoking, it's stress, it's cortisol. And I always tell people, I told them for years, when nobody was really looking at cortisol, you can hardly get a doctor to think about it. It's sort of your adrenal glands are sort of forgotten. The Rodney Dangerfield of your hormones, cortisol. Cortisol, And mental health, heart health, brain health, cancer. Cortisol is, it adds fire to the flame of inflammation. It's like pouring gasoline on it. And it's such a big factor. You got to get that cortisol down. And we live in a world that just sort of stirs that cortisol. It stirs it. 24-hour news cycles. And people are generally, and we need each other. And the world, it's, and even like, guys, I'm just going to say this. You can come after me if you want. But kids wearing masks, you want to elevate a cortisol in children? Especially? We hardly recognize one another. But children, the unintended consequences of that. Okay, and please, let's not have a war on our Facebook group, okay? Let's not do that. Let's be civil. People have different ideas. I'm just telling you about unintended consequences, okay? Of stress. Like stress, you got stress glands. You have adrenal glands. God gave them to you. But you're not to overuse it. And they never get turned off. It adds gasoline to a fire of inflammation in the body. You got a little bit of inflammation in the body, and I'm not talking about pain. It can be pain, but most time inflammation, you don't even know you have it. And if you put stress to it, cortisol just pours gasoline on it. It lowers testosterone. It elevates estrogen. It's one of the reasons that it'll set cancer cells on fire. I talked about this in breast cancer. One of the big factors. Of course, insulin, and estrogen, but cortisol just pours gasoline on it. I'm a history guy. I used to take patients' histories. I said, what traumatic event did you go through? I lost my father, or, I was caring for my mother, or family dynamics, children, messed up, and, or, oh boy, now you're really talking about suppressing the immune system. High xenoestrogens. We've talked about this so often. Look at the environment. Look at plastics, what we're breathing in. Plastics are found on Mount Everest, the highest point in the world. Plastics are there. I always get a kick out of people tell me, well, I avoid plastics. No, you don't. You think you do, but you're breathing it in. It's everywhere. They're finding it in the placentas. No wonder sperm counts are so down in men. It's everywhere, these plastics. Johnson & Johnson, DuPont, xenoestrogens, exposure to them. This is the kind of world we live in, guys. The kind of world that we live in. Good luck trying to completely avoid that stuff. Most of them are found in your home. Cleaning products. Even cosmetics and that. I remember, what was it? Lipstick. I remember they I didn't even know there was 400 different types of lipstick. I remember reading this study once, and they tested 400 lipsticks, and the xenoestrogens, and even, what was it? I think it was lead in 400. I said, I didn't even know there was 400 types of lipsticks. I haven't used any lately. Okay. And here's number 7. Low vitamin D. Low vitamin D. One of the reasons that men have low T. Okay. So those are the 7 main reasons that men suffer with low T. What do we do? What do we do? Okay? You don't need to, The pharmaceutical industry is already, you know, we're here. We're going to give you testosterone. Okay? I don't like that. Okay? Because it's first of all, it's synthetic. And you start playing with biochemistry inside the body with synthetics, you got to be very careful. Very careful with that. And I don't like that because there's natural ways to elevate your testosterone, men. What do you need to do? Okay? One. Okay? One. Change your diet. You want to elevate your testosterone? Change your diet. One of the reasons that I recommend the reset for men, not just weight loss, not just metabolic syndrome, which it fixes it. Metabolic syndrome, which is a huge, 88% of the population have metabolic syndrome. They're on their way to disaster. That's what it means. Metabolic syndrome, elevated blood pressure, elevated blood sugars, even if it's normal, even if they're in normal ranges, elevated triglycerides, lower HDL. I put uric acid in there, high levels of uric acid. It's insulin that does all of that. When you change your diet, yes, with reset, you're fixing metabolic syndrome. You're aiming at your insulin. Tremendous. But it also helps your testosterone, men. Why is that? Because you're eating vitamin S. Steak. That elevates your zinc. Your body needs zinc to make testosterone. And again, you rarely hear me talking about taking zinc as a supplement. Not that I don't believe in it. I do. I put it in our prostate formula. Zinc's in there. I put it in our Fortis, which is a natural supplement to increase testosterone levels. I know it works over the years because I used to measure it. But I want you to eat food and the right food. Cut down on the carbs. Cut down on the PUFAs. Those crappy oils. Eat eggs, meat, and cheese, and your testosterone goes up. Men. Because you're eating vitamin S. Lots of it. Now, there's other things too, your amino acids, and you need those things. You need high protein to elevate your testosterone, men. You need high protein diet. Protein is king. And the way your food is, in nature, think of it, how God put steak together. All your vitamins, all your minerals, okay? You need that. You need that. Fat, you need that too. Saturated fat. Okay? Diet. Dim out your estrogen, men. Dim it out. I have more men over the years taking hormonal formula that I give to women because they got way too much estrogen. You know how many women I've said over the years, you're too much of a woman? And I've said it to men. You got too much womanly hormone. Your masculinity is going down. Dim it out. Dim is an extract that lowers estrogen. I take it. You know why? Because I got a prostate and I want to get my estrogen down. I want my testosterone to be high. Because if you have good testosterone, it's good for your brain. It's good for your heart, men. You need that T to be up. Dim it out. Dim it out. So the reset. Here's another one. Vitamin E. Exercise. Now, walking will not elevate your testosterone, men. Is walking good? Yes, it's good. Is the treadmill good? Yeah, if you like it, it's good. Okay? Hard on your knees or whatever. But if you want to elevate your testosterone, there's a specific exercise you need to do, and that is you got to get strong. You got to lift sun, steak, and steel. We'll talk about the sun in a minute. Steel. Lift. 3 to 4 times a week. Lift weights. Men. I don't care. Can I say something else? You might have a physical job. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you taking 15, 20 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. And, you want to do push-ups? Do push-ups. That's a good one too. It's resistant exercises. You don't need to spend a lot of money. Get strong. Get strong. Your testosterone after the age of 50 sinks like the Titanic in men. Their estrogen goes up, their testosterone sinks like the Titanic unless you do something about it. Change your food. Change your food. Dim out your estrogen. Because estrogen will make your prostate grow and sink your T. Vitamin D. Viderma. The sun. Isn't that amazing? Even testosterone men needs Viderma, the sun, the sunlight. It's good for everything. Huh, Dr. Martin, you're always talking about Viderma. I know, but I can't help myself. Get in the sun. If you can't get in the sun, take vitamin D. You need it. Testosterone, you don't make testosterone, men, without good levels of vitamin D. Isn't that amazing? Okay. And remember too, like going back to eating vitamin S, like steak. Steak has zinc, but it also has boron. You need that. It's one of the minerals I like, but it's in steak. You don't have to take a supplement if you don't want to, but I'd like you to dim it out. And for the men in the Fortis, I take it. I want to be strong. I want to have good testosterone. Weightlifting. Okay? Here's another thing. One of the things that'll go after your xenoestrogens, ladies and gentlemen, ladies to be balanced, men to get your testosterone up, is glutathione. Your liver produces glutathione. It's a master antioxidant. It is Velcro, but your body makes it. It's not like you don't make it, but if your liver is gummed up, which happens when you're a carboholic, you're a sugar addict, you're gumming up your liver, and your liver, if it is gummed up, will not produce glutathione. And one of the reasons I love Navitol, pine bark extract, is because it elevates glutathione. But if you empty your liver, you elevate your glutathione. Velcro, that picks up that extra xenoestrogens that are circulating in your body. Your liver is your detox organ. It's one of the reasons I want you to empty it. Okay? I think I hit everything I wanted to talk about. Low T. Plummeting Masculinity. Yes. Coming to a theater near you, and it's already here. And here's what we do about it. Okay, so this was a special edition today, and we appreciate you guys coming on with us, and we thank you so much, okay? You can share this with the men in your life, a little teaching for them, and we invite you to join our Martin Clinic Facebook group. Let you know that the Reset book is back in stock. We appreciate that. And let people know about the podcast that they can get on their smartphones. The Doctor is in podcast. And we appreciate all of your support. And we thank you very much for paying attention. And we don't take that lightly. Okay? Love you guys. Talk to you soon.